Good day, brothers and sisters. Wisdom at Dawn, episode 333. Follow the Sutra back to our hearts, a limited understanding. Master says, Sutras are used to explain principles that are boundless and extensive. When all our actions are in line with principles, we cultivate ourselves and train others perfectly. Therefore, sutras are a path or a road that leads us back to our own hearts. But what is the purpose of these principles? They are to resolve the questions asked by those who sincerely seek to engage in spiritual practice. The Buddha also asked questions before he began to engage in spiritual practice. So not only have we asked why now, but also in the past. By putting the teachings into practice, if we are mindful, we will learn the principles behind them. After understanding principles, we will continue to act in accord so that all actions are in line with principles. Only then can we truly experience the Buddha's state of mind. Then, as we continue to cultivate ourselves, we are able to train others perfectly. And this was the way the Buddha taught the principles. It was as if he was paving a road for us, then leading us to walk on this road back to our hearts. Thus the verse, the sutras are a path. In following this route, we return to our hearts. Sutra describes a place where all principles regarding the laws of nature, the natural ways that people live, and so on, with all conditions, analogies, expressions, and skillful means, the Buddha enabled all to learn and gain joy from the practice. Today, Master shared about Tzu seeds that have been planted all over mainland China. In Sichuan, after the earthquake, when we went there for disaster relief, the people there began to interact with us. These elderly bodhisattvas who recently returned really made a deep impression. They are all in their 70s. Traveling one way from Dazhou to Chengdu was a 7-8 hour bus ride for them. Then they had to rent a house in Chengdu to more conveniently do Tzu work together. They did everything from recycling to cooking when they get together. Then they would travel from Chengdu to Luoshi to join the monthly study groups. They have been volunteering since that time and have never thought of giving up. Their sharing was truly touching. Some of them live in Yichun, a place of extreme poverty. The route from Shanghai to Yichun goes from wide to narrow roads, then from the plains to the mountains, and in the mountains it crosses streams and goes over rugged trails. It is truly an arduous journey. When Tzu volunteers first came here about 17 years ago, they had to convince the local people that they are there to help. The locals had to be convinced from suspicion to disbelief, from disbelief to belief, from belief to affirmation, and finally from affirmation to acceptance. Not only the road was arduous, many methods had to be used to convince the locals to walk the path. And eventually, some of them even vowed to become vegetarian, in addition to quitting smoking, drinking, and gambling. All this came about due to many various karmic conditions. And because people were willing to put teachings into actions, they used their honesty, integrity, faith, and steadfastness to pave this road. And as they walk this path, they are very happy and enable all others to rejoice. Another story was about how Muslim volunteers learned Chinese and the teachings together. They would recite out loud a Jingzi aphorism a day. Jingzi aphorisms are short and easy to recite and remember. And each Jingzi aphorism is actually a principle. Therefore, reciting Jingzi aphorism actually teaches us how to deal and communicate with people using principles. They are like gathas. Gathas are short and concise explanation of a principle. Therefore, we must take each word to heart, use it to walk the path, and return to our intrinsic Buddha nature. So therefore, be mindful always.感恩 for listening in. May we all achieve enlightenment for the benefit of sentient beings.